Hey, we're back, part 2,
No.
week 19, season 3, 3-ball walk.
Still
Eddie
looking,
Bob,
still looking for a
Julio.
sponsor.
We'll take one.
Well,
We'll take one. Anybody wants to? Anybody wants to jump in?
Looking for
You know,
season
right
4
now,
sponsors
even
now.
our pens. Oh,
Sign
no.
up.
Baptist Collegiate Ministries.
Yeah.
That's our sponsor
That's our
today.
sponsor
today.
And we thank them for the facilities,
Yep.
the camera work,
Thank God for them. So
the studio.
Yeah, yeah. You might hear the construction on our palatial
Yes.
studio next door, which will not be ours, by the way. But
No.
Walgreens coming in behind.
So we talked American League.
Yes.
Now let's talk real baseball, real pennant races.
Real pennant races.
A lot of things to be decided. Not only whether you're going to...
all the teams
one
are
league,
decided.
you've got
No,
home
not
field
yet.
advantage
Not
for the
nationally.
wild card.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. It's the dead.
All the teams are decided.
No.
The wild card in the National League is still up for grabs because it could be L.A., it could be Colorado.
LA could be in, could be out.
Nope.
St. Louis could be in
St.
or
Louis
could be
out.
out. Right now
The wild
you got
card.
you got the Rockies, the Dodgers, and St. Louis,
St. Louis.
and only 2 of those 3
Who
are
is
gonna
doing
be
their
in.
best not to get in the playoffs right now. St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis. I guess St. Louis is one behind in the wild card.
Yeah. Milwaukee.
St. Louis can knock out the Rockies or the Dodgers.
Yep.
Right.
You know, and yesterday with that 14-0 pouncing of Philadelphia, the Rockies jumped the Dodgers.
Yep.
Okay, the Rockies have one more game with Philadelphia tonight, and then their last 3 are against the Nationals.
The Nationals, right.
Okay, and the Dodgers basically just close out the season against San Francisco.
Right. But the Rockies are at home and the Dodgers go on the road to
That is
San
correct.
Francisco, right.
What about who does St. Louis play?
And St. Louis is at the Cubs,
Ooh.
who are battling for
The pennant against Milwaukee.
right.
Right.
Now they can actually, they both are in. One of them is going to be the wild card.
Right.
One of them is going to wind up being the division winner.
Right.
But there's another one. You got the Brewers are at home against the Tigers for 3. Interleague play the last 3 games of the season.
How is that?
That's terrible.
Well, you got to. There's 15 teams in each league. You can only have 7 series.
They could have had it figured out before that.
I think so too.
What do you mean? Some team the last weekend has 2 teams have to be interleaguing.
I guess.
You can't.
That to me, add 2 more teams so we don't have to do this anymore, please.
Please, yeah. Come on, Ralph.
And the
Manfred.
Cubs against the Cardinals at home. So I'll tell you what, and I like Milwaukee, and I didn't pick them early, but I mean they're my fun team to watch,
Who did we pick?
I think I put the
I picked the Cubs.
Yeah.
and I picked the Cardinals.
You picked the Cardinals. That was pretty simple in that division. Who you said you were going to tell us who we picked in?
I've got it written down. I
American
haven't
League.
looked at it.
Well,
I put it away. I locked it away for safekeeping. It's in one of those little time vaults, only to be open once the season's over.
so next
that way
week.
it couldn't be altered.
Do you know the code?
Next
Do you know?
week.
So next
I
week,
can get
next
it.
week we'll look at it. Okay, next
We'll
week
look at
bring
who
it
we
up.
picked.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm pretty sure we picked the Cubs to win.
I picked the
I
Diamondbacks.
picked
I
the
remember.
Cubs. I think I picked the Dodgers, I think.
I think I picked.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. We'll find out
So,
next week.
And
Yeah.
I think we all either picked
And
the
Christian
Nationals.
Yelich-
I did.
Yeah, I think we picked the
You
Nationals.
guys jumped on the Mets, maybe. One of you guys did.
No, maybe.
Kristen Yelich yesterday,
MVP.
MVP. Christian Yelich became the 4th guy in major. He's doing all these superlative things. You know, the 2 cycles in a year.
Two
Yesterday
cycles in a
became,
month,
In a month, right.
in a calendar month. Not
yesterday
a calendar month.
became the 4th guy in major league history to get 5 base on balls in a game.
Why would you pitch to him if he's that hot? Wow.
Wow. And Marlin fans, you can thank Derek Jeter for that. He's amazing. He was amazing in Miami. I mean,
Right,
now-
but would he be having that kind of year if he was on a team that was going absolutely nowhere?
No.
Well, right center field, he's hitting more home run. He's in a more home run friendly ballpark than he would be.
Right.
But
How many more
I'll tell
games
you
do you
what.
play at home?
he's hitting what?
How many more games do you play at home? How many games do you play at home?
81.
81,
All right, so you play 81 and 81, right?
Correct.
So you're still only playing 81 games there, but what you're saying is those 81 games are much more friendly than Miami.
Sure.
Okay. And what?
And you're still having to play Miami 7 games a year, 8 games a year.
right, but not.
Not 81.
That's 74. That's 74 that you're not playing in Miami.
And 74 more games you get to play in Milwaukee.
Right, that is there, and plus then you get to also play at Wrigley, on more
Yes.
more of the Wrigley and the wind blowing out early.
He's having a great year.
You know, he's hitting 3-4. I mean, he's
having a year.
he's having a year.
He's having a career in 1 year. He's like, spread that out a little bit, man. I mean, you know, let's get greedy. And
But he was one of those.
two
It was
cycles
fun.
in 1 month.
He was a promising young star. He developed, and it's fun to watch that. The other guy is our guy who we created on this show.
Story?
Did you see?
No, I did not see.
34.
34 homers?
It is 34th last night.
And if he hadn't got hurt last year,
If he
he'd been over
hadn't gotten
30.
hurt his rookie year, he'd have been Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
You know, he was well on his way. Last year, he had his little bounce back comeback. But it's something he never did in the minor. Remember we looked at that?
Right.
When he had 14 in his first month of baseball?
Yeah.
Right.
And we're like,
Where'd
he
that
never
come
hit
from?
14.
Never hit 14 in
Well,
his.
guess what? He's doing it now.
He's crushing it.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe he needs to see the doctor and.
I think he's seen the
I see the doctor already.
Yeah, I know. Maybe he needs to see the testing guy.
No,
I'm not saying-
going to go there.
Hello?
See, you're making up stories.
I just said
You're making up a story.
I believe he's clean, but you want to make sure. I mean, heck, the guy suddenly got power. I'm just sorry.
I don't like where this story is.
No, I don't.
Well, I don't want to think it's going that way, but you never know, right? I mean, in a day and age where PEDs are still a thing.
So Dansby Swanson tears ligament in his hand for the Braves. Does that make a big difference for them?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I guess big difference. And he's pretty much out for the. He's done.
He's done. He's done. Well, I don't think they were going to go very far anyway, truthfully.
Well,
They were going to make it to the division playoffs.
Yes. Because they're in it.
None of the other. You know what's funny is they are the only team that knows they're in the division.
that's what I'm
playoffs.
saying. I mean, and they.
They're the only one.
And I said this. I say this every week. No one saw Oakland, and no one saw Atlanta. No one.
And no one saw
And no
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee,
saw
either Milwaukee either. Nobody saw him, and whoever's, those books you buy at the grocery store, no, that's a bunch of hooey. And the Braves, I think, before
Out of those
Swanson, had just
three,
as much
out of
chance to
those
go all the way
three,
to the World Series.
Oakland,
Go to the World
Milwaukee,
Series, not win it, maybe.
which one has the best chance to play in the World Series?
Oakland, Milwaukee, and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, I think. Now that the Braves won't have Swanson, I don't know who they're going to insert, in the shortstop position, but I think that Milwaukee.
That's so big. It really is. And it's
home
only
by heart wants Atlanta. Like
That's big. That's big. Up the middle, you lose your
Yeah.
shortstop the last week. It's not like you've had that he's been on the DL and off the DL and back and forth. You've had somebody play 55, 60 games up
Right,
the middle.
and defensively, because offensively, I think he has like 14 home runs and like
Yeah, he's not that.
240.
He's not a big offensive
No,
threat,
but in the
defensively.
field, he's been
You
really
got,
good.
and here's the one thing interesting with the Brewers is you got the Cubs tonight playing the Pirates. Mm-hmm. Okay? If they lose, if the Pirates win, you basically have a dead tie going into the last weekend of the season.
Yeah, you got 3 for it all.
Okay?
3 games.
You got Milwaukee playing Detroit
Yep.
and the Cubs and Cardinals.
and the Cardinals are playing to
And
win,
the Cardinals are playing for a wild card spot.
and the White Sox are playing out the string.
And the Cubs already have it, but not having to play that wild card game is huge.
Oh, you want to win it. I mean, you play to win that one.
Yeah.
I think you play. That's a time that I think if your starting pitcher comes up,
You
pitch
got to
him.
use them.
You got to use him to play at home, to play at Wrigley with those crowds,
Yeah.
and not have to play a 1-game wild card. Who knows what can happen on any given day?
Are they scroll down? Oh, there we go. Braves 89, 92. So they're going to get to be home. No, 88. Wow, so that team gets the wild card
This
pretty much. No, the
That's
Cubs
it.
the Cubs Brewers is
Yeah.
going to be the overall winner.
Well, unless the Braves went out. The
Yeah.
Braves went out. If the Braves went out and they win 2 out of 3, then the Braves would.
The Braves had with Philadelphia.
Braves
Right.
got 4. They would be
But
93.
the Braves will finish 92.
They would finish with 93 if they got 4 games left.
Okay, and the Cubs, the Cubs and Brewers would both have to lose every game for the rest of the season.
They'd have to lose 3 out of 4, and then it would end up being a tie, and then it would be who knows what tiebreakers.
They flipped, and I can't remember who got it.
I don't know, but
I know the Yankees. The Yankees won the
odds of that
the ace
happening
coin
are
flip
very small.
is the Yankees.
So the odds are probably in the favor that whoever wins that Central is going to get the wild card team.
Yeah.
Correct. That's what
And then you're going to have
another wild card team. I mean, you're gonna have maybe another Central team.
right. It could possibly be playing each other. Same way that the Yankees could end up playing the Red Sox.
The Cardinals could wind up
They could win.
playing in
It could end up being all 3 of them and then you have the Cardinals and whoever doesn't win the first place game playing each other
Well,
for
that's
the
a
wild
little
card.
Midwest. That's not a lot of travel. Basically, the Cardinals would be in Chicago. The Brewers are in Detroit, right there next to each other.
Yeah,
And then they would wind up playing at whoever finishes ahead, which would probably be Milwaukee.
yeah.
Right.
And then so
Chicago.
the Cardinals would play in Chicago, go to Milwaukee, and then right back to Chicago, kind of like the Yankees have to do with Boston.
What about this scenario? How about this one? How about that St. Louis ends up beating the Cardinals? I mean, St. Louis ends up beating the Cubs, sweeps the Cubs, and the Cubs have to travel to St. Louis.
I don't think they swept. That's the only chance they have, right? No, that's over. The Cardinals cannot win the division.
That's right.
The
They can't.
division is going to either be Milwaukee or the Cubs.
Or Chicago, right?
Right.
Or and the Cardinals. The Cardinals.
How about
and
they just stay in
The Cardinals, Dodgers, and Rockies are playing for the second wild
Right
card
now,
position.
Well, if they swept,
Brewers already
if
have
they
the first.
swept, all
Or
right,
the
St.
Cubs.
Louis swept the Cubs, they win 3, right, and they win. They're the second wild card team,
Correct.
and the Brewers sweep the White Sox and become the division winners.
And then the Cubs.
Then the Cubs and Cardinals play an extra day,
in
and nobody travels.
Right. Oh yeah.
Nobody
they
travels.
play. Nobody would. They just stay in
They
Chicago.
stay there.
Stay in Chicago. They get an
Yeah.
off day and then one more game. So
Yeah.
it becomes a 4-game series. A lot can happen there, and this part it's fun.
Oh yeah.
But basically, you're going to wind up having 2 of those 3 teams in,
Mm-hmm.
and one of those 3 has to be.
And
well,
possible that all 3 of them can be in, depending on what happens on the West Coast, right?
No, the Dodgers and Rockies, one is in, one is out.
Right.
No, both of them could be in, and the Cardinals could be in.
Right.
That's what I mean.
right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah,
Cardinals
so
could
the
be
two,
in.
Yeah.
two of
Yeah.
those 3
Yeah.
between the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Cardinals. 2 of the 3.
Two
are
of
gonna
those
be-
3 are one.
Two
one
of those
is out.
3 are in.
Right.
And St.
one's
Louis
out.
is trying to play themselves out because lately they just haven't.
They've had a tough schedule.
They have.
They have the
hard.
toughest schedule coming down the.
Which
I mean,
means
even-
they
even
would have
their
had the
interleague
easier.
games,
Which means they would have had the
Reds-
easier schedule the rest of the season.
That's true. See,
Yeah, it all
that's
works
always
out.
you bringing such brilliance to the table.
That's why we need a sponsor. That's why we need.
Same. I mean, supposedly that's supposed to balance out with your division, right? So
No.
they've all had to play the same amount.
I'll tell you
of
the
games on
other part
interleague.
is
That's a tough call. I mean, I really think that whoever has to play the Cubs is at a disadvantage with that crowd. I'm sorry, but if the Cubs play at home, they're gonna be hard to beat.
Hard to beat. Yep.
Hard to beat with that crowd in October. That's gonna be a special place, Wrigleyville, and
It's going to be going nuts.
that would be an awesome place to be at postseason.
Yeah, it's interesting in Atlanta too. I don't have the package, so we don't get to watch many Brave games unless we're on TV. But first year they had that stadium and they're going to the playoffs. You know,
There you go.
It should be going nuts.
It's
I
the
would
new
think so.
stadium.
a brand new stadium.
it's the new stadium.
They got rid of the curse of Nakahoma. Is what happened.
So Yelich MVP,
Yeah.
Yes.
Cy Young.
Oh, here's where the rub comes. We had a on our
Brent-
Facebook page.
Brant Spring who's a loyal viewer. He's like one of the 4. He says DeGrom all the way, and because
Well, DeGrom now has a winning record.
Yeah, he's a winning record now. I think wins count for a little bit more. I see his point. I understand that he's had a great year against a terrible team, but Eddie made a great point right before the show started.
There are 2 pitchers on the Mets who have 12 wins.
And they're same team,
Same
but
team.
not the same run support.
Same team though.
Same team, you know, and what
See, I think there's a lot of intangibles, and this sounds really
He
bad.
only leads in one category.
ERA.
ERA and earned runs, which makes the ERA.
Right.
That's the only category that he leads the National League in.
He leads the National League in market size for the team you play for.
Yeah,
Which you
maybe.
get
Well,
a lot of
Washington.
publicity. Look at
Scherzer's
all
the
the
other
new-
guy. Noah's the other guy in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I'll
What's
tell
interesting
you,
is that all
here's-
3 of them are in the East.
Yeah.
And none of them are going to win the division.
Right, exactly right.
No,
But
I totally,
Scherzer now, he has, I think, 7 or 8 more wins than anybody else on the Washington staff.
I'll tell you, and I know it's intangible, and there's no way to measure it and everything like that. But and you've been there. Weren't there some guys on your team that when they were pitching, you wanted to go out and perform a little bit better for? I mean, and there's guys that are
Yeah.
out there rotting,
Yeah,
and when
I can
they're
see that.
pitching, they can get their team up, and you want to go hit and whatever. Or in the
Or the
case
flip
of what's
side.
his face, Baumgartner, you know what? When he doesn't get run support, you know what he does?
He hits him in himself.
He knocks him in himself. Okay, and that's the one thing I think that run support. No, there's nothing you can do about it, but there is a little.
And my point, one of the things I tried to say with Brant online was, Bob Gibson, the year he won, had a sub 1 point, whatever it was, ERA, he probably at least run support of any starting pitcher. He lost 9 games that year. He was 22
with a
and 9.
1.12.
Right.
But he went out
But he's
there
22 and
and I'll
9.
tell you the
22
other
and 9,
part
right,
is
he won.
I'll tell you the other part is when and I'll just come here the last few years, Faedo, Brady Singer, okay?
Ones versus one.
Why is the SEC pitcher of the year in college the majority of the time come from a Friday night starter?
Those are the best pitchers, and they face the best pitchers on the other team.
And what happens if those guys give up 3 runs in a game?
They lose the game.
Yeah.
Okay? And they know. And part of the picture is, hey, my job is to get my team to win today, and I am going up against Bob Gibson, says Juan Marichal.
Right.
So today, I better not allow any runs, because if I do, there's a chance I lose. And if I do give up some runs, guess what? I didn't do my job.
And I know we got to go. Steve Carlton, 1972 for the Phillies. I mean, he won
27
27
wins.
wins on a team that won like 59 or something. I mean, so he won, and I think wins.
They didn't
count.
finish 60 and a half games.
No, they didn't
behind.
finish 60 and a half
They've
games.
gone full circle. on
So,
this shot.
so this whole thing, I understand he pitched against the ones, but I don't know if that's the true in college. But I don't know how much that lines up in professional baseball.
Oftentimes.
That you are going against their number one, given the fact that some teams go with a 4-man rotation, some go with a 5, some go with a 3.
So then basically you're giving up more runs than your team is scoring against another team's number 5, then give the Cy Young to the other team's number 5.
Maybe.
I don't
All I'm
know.
just saying is, if
No, I mean, bottom line
he
is
were the-
I've got a job to do, and it's
Right.
to make sure that other team scores less than mine. And if I have to shut the other team out today,
if he had the most wins on the Mets, if there were no other
That would be
pitchers that had more than 10 wins on the Mets, I would say DeGrom. Because I understand he's had a great year. But I'm saying right now, it should be either Nola or it should be Scherzer, and my pick would be Scherzer on a team that
I
finished
like
third.
Scherzer too.
I like Scherzer.
But who knows? Well, sorry. That's just my opinion, and it means absolutely nothing to them because I don't vote. So we'll see who wins all the awards. Be back next week.